The following podcast contains spoilers and words that my mother would prefer I did not say. We watch thee. We watch thee. Hello, everybody. Wimmy Wham Wham Wazzle, and welcome back to We Watch the Thing.
Yep,
and we're leaving it. I'm not restarting, mate.
Can I edit this week?
No, I'm doing it this week. You are, of course, with Beat Izzle and Dave.
Starting to see why Topher left.
Well, I know, he blamed Jungle Cruise. That was what he was like, no, that was the last straw.
That is a fucking awful movie.
I nearly messaged him this week when I went to see Haunted Mansion. I was like, mate, you want to hop back on the show with me for this one? I know how much you adore shows based on Disney rides.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not talking about Haunted Mansion this week. I saw that just for funsies. We're doing a double feature, though.
Yep.
What should we start with, mate? You want to start with some turtle action?
Sure.
Let's do it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is a 2023 American computer-animated superhero film directed by Jeff Rowe, who co-wrote the screenplay with Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, Dan Hernandez, and Benji Samit. It's the 7th theatrical Turtles film, and it's a reboot of the Turtles series. It stars Micah Abbey, Shamon Brown Jr., Nicholas Cantu, and Brady Noon in the lead roles, as well as an ensemble cast featuring Ayo Edaberry, Maya Rudolph, John Cena, Seth Rogen, Rose Byrne.
Just say
everybody
everyone. Seth
Jackie
Rogen's
Chan,
ever met.
Ice Cube, Paul Rudd, Post Malone, fucking everyone. And what is it about, mate?
Kevin Eastman's turtles that went in the ooze and mutated and learnt ninja powers and got given swords and sai and other deadly weapons that they never killed anyone with, and their some of their traditional enemies, I guess. Yeah, Bebop, Rocksteady.
Yeah, Bebop and Rocksteady are there.
It's Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg doing what probably you or I or anyone else would do and make the most of the humongous success they've had in producing to do the thing they probably always wanted to do since they were kids.
Yes, yeah. I was a massive Turtles fan as a kid. Like, the Turtles were my...
Well,
I'm more of that age,
akin
I
to
think.
Rogen and Goldberg in age.
Yes.
I think
I was just going to ask...
80s kids, and I have zero emotional attachments to this franchise. To me, the biggest gift that Kevin Eastman gave to the world is his stint with heavy metal. Yeah, I don't dislike the Turtles. They're fine. It's a cool premise. My hat is off to him creating a franchise and having such phenomenal success with it. Yeah. But I don't have the attachment to it that you and a lot of my friends do, who are just that little bit younger where it kind of hit at the right age. Because
I had Turtles everything. Like, I literally had a book on tape, a Ninja Turtles book on tape that came with finger puppets so that you could act out the story as it was read to you. I had Ninja Turtles bath toys. Like, I was big into the Turtles. And...
I just went to Eddie Murphy Delirious. Michelangelo's going in the cave.
And then a big brown shark came. Not far off. So I was super excited for this film. Last year I had our great friend DT from the Space Castle podcast. He came on with me and did the 1990s Ninja Turtles film on this show, and then we did a drunken episode on his YouTube of Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze, which is not a good film.
Is that which is the one that's... One of them's got... what's his name?
Vanilla Ice?
Well, no. Doesn't one of them have Green Arrow as...
I don't know. I've never watched Green Arrow.
Oh, yeah, but what's his name? Stephen Amell. As...
Don't know.
Who's the... you've got April O'Neil, but there was a dude.
Yeah, Casey Jones.
Jones.
Really?
I'm sure Stephen Amell played Casey Jones in something.
Okay.
God, I hope I'm not making that up, because everyone will be at home going, fucking what, are you high?
Well, that movie is amazing. That movie is much closer tonally to Eastman and Ladd's comic series than it is to the cartoon
Secret of the
series.
Ooze one, you mean? Or the old...
The 1990s, the first Ninja Turtles film, which is live action with amazing puppetry and costumes by Henson.
Big rubber suits, isn't it?
Yeah, designed by Jim Henson. And it is... that's a great movie, and I had really high hopes for this one because I was like, the animation style looks gorgeous. I've been quite a fan of Seth Rogen's producing in particular. I think he's made some great choices.
Been very vocal saying I think he should never be in front of a camera ever again because he's annoying as fuck. But
in particular with the superhero genre, with Preacher and The Boys, like he's had some great producing successes.
I'm well in sync with his personal tastes. I just don't like him on camera anymore.
So I had really high hopes for this, and I think my expectations, because I had such high hopes, I liked this movie. I think it's good, but I don't think it's great. Where are you on it as a non-Turtles fan?
Let me just get on the phone to Paul and get his Negatron sound drop.
Oh, no!
This movie was bog fucking average.
Oh, no. I definitely don't think that. I think...
If it didn't have the producers and writers behind it, or the names behind it, and I'll get to the stunt casting later, but if it didn't have those names, this would be roll it out through some streaming service. There is nothing special. The animation, in parts, was very good, I thought. Mainly the turtles themselves, where they kind of look claymation. I liked that.
I liked the animation style a lot.
Most of the animation, I was like, People are comparing it to the Spider-Verse movies, which I think is fucking insane.
Or I actually even stylistically don't think it's similar. Like
I think more because there are multiple styles of animations within the film.
There are to an extent, but nowhere near as much as Spider-Verse. This is a fairly straight style.
It's not the same ballpark. It's not even the same fucking sport.
There's one or two moments where it kind of stretches that style, but stylistically, this is fairly set. It's very painterly, I guess I would say. It's very clearly cel-shaded 3D animation.
Some of it, to me, is... I mean, the turtles themselves are deliberately... They're made to look claymation. They've even got little sort of thumb, fingernail imprints and shit. They're meant to look clay, whereas most of the bad guys are made to look like fucking 5-year-old on crystal meth did it with crayons. And it's so there are varying styles, and I'm sure they're going for that Spider-Verse thing because those two films are such blockbusters.
Yes,
they're just they haven't spent the time on it. They don't have the talent behind it. They haven't they haven't earned that quality, and therefore they don't have it.
Yeah, right. I like the look of the film, and I like a lot of the film. I think that some of the plot elements work well, some don't. I like that we haven't gone straight to Shredder, but I got to tell you, at the end, when we got our little, we got a call on the Shredder, I fucking fist bumped. I was like, okay, now I want to watch a sequel.
Is Superfly a thing from...
Not that I recall. So I like that we did something different.
Bebop and Rocksteady traditionally are...
They work for the Shredder, typically.
They're the lieutenants for Shredder. So they've deliberately just made up a fucking character so that they can tease a sequel, essentially.
Yeah. But I didn't hate that. I liked that we did something different, and I actually quite liked Superfly. As a villain, I liked stylistically, he was a little bit darker. It was kind of Cronenberg-y, like mutant level, rather than...
bit of cartoon body horror.
Yeah, it actually was. Like, it was quite heavy body horror, I thought, for this genre. And this is, unlike the 1990s Turtle, this one very much is more in kin with the cartoon series. This is more kid-friendly, I would say.
Oh, it is... The target audience for this, other than people with a nostalgia boner...
8 to 11-year-olds.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which is why I'm going to sound like I'm being harsh on it because I'm looking at it as an much older person, but I'm not the target audience for this.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. You're not.
But trying to be objective, creating a movie where you're targeting that age level, I mean, obviously it's worked at least to a point with someone at like yourself who's at that same age as...
To a point,
Seth and Evan.
Yeah.
So... To me, none of the humor landed. It just felt puerile, and and I was, while I was watching it, thinking, Aiden would be pissing himself. I'm sure he's going to love this when I show it to him, because he's 11.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be too critical because it's not pitched at me. But then in the other half of my brain, I've got the little kind of devil on my shoulder going, but it fucking is kind of, because this is...
It's a franchise that's been
Seth
around
and Evan
for coming on 40 years. Yeah.
Producing something to appeal to people of their age. And I'm not that much older than that, so surely some of it should be landing. But I was bored throughout most of the bits that I enjoyed were like the big fights and things.
Yep.
Anything, all of the stuff with the turtles and I'm surprised we didn't get a fucking cowabunga in there.
Oh, I'm surprised too. That disappointed me.
But all of that and the stuff with the turtles and April, I was just like, oh, snooze. I feel like I'm watching some YA show on the Disney Channel.
Well, and I actually have to agree, and this is where my big issues come into it, is that I think this movie tries to... What annoys me about this movie, which is funny, it's what would not annoy people about... I might be on a bridge of one here, but this movie tries to bank on nostalgia purely on the branding. Because, like you say, we don't get a cowabunga.
There is none of that... sorry.
I mean, fan service is the word, really. There's no fan service. And sometimes, like, people complained about Force Awakens to an extent, going, oh, it's just rehashed New Hope. Like, it's just, you're meant to cheer when you see the Millennium Falcon. It's just, it's literally just playing on nostalgia.
But whereas at least this, I think, does...
Yes, whereas this, I think, does the opposite.
For doing it, but you're still fist-pumping in Force Awakens.
I love the casting of Jackie Chan as Splinter. But as a kid who grew up on the Turtles...
That's not Master Splinter from what
that is not my... Hashtag not my Splinter. Like, Splinter is... it just didn't do it for me. Splinter was meant to be the pet of a great ninja master, and that's where he learned these moves and stuff. And I didn't like that backstory that we were given here. There was, and I feel bad saying that. They're trying something new. That's great. It's for kids. I should leave it alone. But if you're going to play on my nostalgia, at least give me those moments instead of just banking that, hey, it's Turtles branded. You should enjoy this as a kid who grew up watching the Turtles. Because this isn't them. So I'm kind of torn. Like I said, I liked this movie, but I did not love it. And I was hoping that I would love it.
The two biggest critiques that I have are... One, the missing element that would have made this work better is there is nothing for adults other than kind of on your nose nostalgia.
Yeah.
If this was, and I'm going to draw a comparison to what I think is a film that is similar in a lot of ways. It's got an inventive animation style. It's pitched at that same age group, but it has a 50-50 in content with stuff for adults, and that's Mitchells versus Machines, which I think perfectly hit the balance of being equally enjoyable by your 10, 11-year-olds and by adults. Yep. This had nothing for adults beyond nostalgia.
Yep.
It's missing that crucial component, and me, because I don't have the nostalgia, was literally sitting there going... If I could fast forward this, I probably would, just to get to the next action scene.
I think that's fair. Like I enjoyed it, but I completely understand someone who doesn't. I did really like the soundtrack.
I remember nothing about it. I'm assuming, based on the film itself, that it's probably got a whole bunch of like Kendrick Lamar sort of shit that
it was actually more old school. Anyway. It was very like 90s R&B. It had No Diggity pop up, which again doesn't actually really fit with the style of the film.
Didn't have fucking Heroes in a Half Shell, so I don't give a shit what else it had.
Yeah.
The other major thing I'm going to throw at it, with the exception of Ice Cube and Jackie Chan, fuck off with the bullshit stunt casting. None of those name actors added anything.
Yeah, I agree. To the point where you don't actually even know.
I don't actually think a lot of them were very good.
I don't know who Paul Rudd was in the film.
The
Rose
only
Byrne,
thing
I'm assuming, is the Australian character. Which,
she was. But I don't think any of them performed particularly well. And I have a lot of time for good voice actors. And there's a reason why there is a small sort of cadre of voice actors who are in everything. because they're fucking great at it. Give them the
Alan
work.
Tudyk's and stuff.
Well, even people that non-animation fans would never know the names of.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the likes of Grey Delisle and others who are in a lot of stuff. And it's because they're really fucking good at it.
Yeah.
I love Rose Byrne. I like so many of the people in this. Why have we got Post Maloney there? Fuck, who knows? You're not even a normal actor, let alone a voice actor. Stop.
I agree.
It's either, and it could be both, Rogan and Goldberg giving jobs to their mates.
Yeah.
Because maybe there's not a lot of work around with strikes and shit going on. I don't know. Not a clue. Or it's just marketing shtick where we're going to stick a bunch of names up there that people will know, and then those actors
I think it's
go
probably
and share
a
it
combination of both.
Pump it on social media.
Can I give credit where credit's due, though? I actually really enjoyed the voice casting and acting of our 4 turtles, who...
They were fine, but they were
for the first time, actually sounded like teenagers. Yeah, they were nobodies. I'm assuming that they were voice actors.
Just based on the headshots in IMDb, they were all kids,
And I actually quite enjoyed their performance. And I thought that the chemistry between them worked. There were a couple of good scenes with them. But, yeah, overall, I'm a 6 on this. Like, it just passes for me.
If I were just scoring based on my personal engagement, I'd be a 3 out of 10.
Yeah,
this was not a good... I did not... If I could go back and not watch it, I probably would.
Wow.
But I'm going to sort of pull myself back and go, I'm not the target audience in either camp.
Yeah.
So I'm a 4.5. It's still not a pass. I don't think it's good, but...
Even so, overall, that means from us combined, it's a 10.5 out of 20. So, I think
sounds about right.
yeah. So just above pass.
Yeah. But my heartfelt recommendation for all listeners is if you want a kids film in this ilk that you're not going to hate yourself for watching with your kids, just go rewatch Mitchells vs. Machines. It's 1,000% better.
From memory, that's Lord and Miller, isn't it? Who did that?
No, it's oh God, I'm going to blank on his name. It's the guy that created Gravity Falls.
Oh, Gravity Falls. Yes.
Which is why it's smart writing. Yep. All the messages are so on point and heartfelt. You almost fucking cry in it, but it's not on the nose. That is a fucking 4.5 out of 5 banger film.
Yep.
And so much better than this.
All right, well, speaking of 4 out of 5 banger films, let's get on to our second film of the night, which is The Nun 2, Nun Harder. 2023 American Gothic supernatural horror film directed by Michael Chavez with a screenplay by Ian Goldberg, Richard Nang and Akela Cooper from A Story by Cooper. It's a sequel, of course, to The Nun and the 9th overall installment in the Conjuring universe. It stars Thaisa Farmiga, Jonas Blockhet and Bonnie Aarons, returning from the first film, along with Storm Reed, Anil Popplewell and along with Storm Reed and Anna Popplewell. And what is it about, Dave?
Oh.
It's about a nun. It's about a nun. Spooky nun doing spooky
demon shit. Vector. No, not Vector. That's Stranger Things. It starts with a V. Fucking demon starting with V from somewhere in the Bible. I don't know. In nun form is back after the first nun film. Managed to hijack Frenchie and escape the demise at the end of that film, and sort of moseying across Europe, trying to find some old dead saint's eyes and fucking use them to rise to power. I don't know. Meanwhile, the Vatican sees all of these deaths that are occurring as Frenchie / nun kills people on the search for the eyes, and decides, well, our priest from the first film's been fridged and died of cholera. The only person we can send is this nun who's been a nun for about 4 seconds.
Yeah.
We won't bother sending any senior ministers or exorcists or anything with her. We'll send her by herself.
Yeah.
And she can take the chick from missing with her. And they can go and, the entire fate of the world can rest with this barely out of novitiate robes nun.
No, I haven't actually seen the first Nun, confession. But based...
You didn't go and rewatch it prior to this like I did.
But based on the
Don't you like
exposition
the
from
listeners?
this film, our lead nun, Taissa Farmiga, she's in the first one too, right? She has to be. Like, she's
She is
involved
the main...
in...
She and older priest. She's... the first nun takes place prior to her taking her final vows. So she's just a novitiate or whatever they're called. Right. And she's with this senior priest, and they go to investigate this stuff, and... end up battling evil nun, and Frenchie's that Maurice is there as their kind of local guide who's found this nun who had the body of this nun who had hanged herself, and that's what they were going to investigate.
Now, I know that I've teased you a bit over the last couple of days, and even in the intro just then, saying 4 out of 5 banger film. This is a fantastic film, only because I know that you hated the first Nun. I'm expecting you hated
the
this.
First Nun. I did not care for it.
Let me just I'll pull my cards out right here. I actually did like this film. I was only half teasing. I don't think it's a great film, but I think my expectations were so low because people have ragged on the Nun.
This to be
I expected it to be
awful.
Real shit. But I've seen a lot of horror movies in cinemas this year, and a lot of not good ones. The Boogeyman. I can't even remember half the horror movies that I've seen. But if a horror movie came out this year, chances are I saw it in the cinemas. I think that this is not that bad. For me, this is around on par with, say, Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh god, fuck no! It's not that good.
It's like it's a just above average. Like,
you gave that like 8 out of 10 or something,
did I?
I'm looking forward to the end of this episode when you give Nun 2 8 out of 10.
I think
that'll go up in the annals of history along with your Fast 10 score.
I don't think this is a great film, but I think that what's good about it is actually pretty good. I liked the acting overall. I thought the production design was really strong.
This is significantly better than the first Nun.
Okay,
the first Nun is... It's probably not the worst thing in the Conjuring franchise, because that franchise took a nosedive off a cliff in terms of diminishing returns.
And that makes me so sad, because those first 2 Conjuring films were fucking great. And
the first 2 are good. Like, I have an inherent dislike of this entire franchise just because it lends credence to the fucking real-life Warrens who are fraudulent assholes, proven frauds. And so... the whole based on a true story thing kind of sets my hackles up, because I'm like, no, they're not. They're fucking shysters, and the world knows it. It's proven. So you should tell that to News, because I vaguely remember that she was like, well, the thing that makes this movie even worse, Billy, is the fact that it's based on a true story. It's not. It's based on bullshit is what it's based on. But the first 2 films are very, very good. Yeah. Especially the second, which is even better than the first. But all horror franchises, with the exception of Insidious, have diminishing returns. This one took a fucking nosedive off a cliff. Annabelle is god awful. La Llorona, fucking awful. Conjuring the Devil Made Me Do It. Oh my god.
Yeah,
just awful.
That was real bad.
So I went into this expecting the worst, because the director of this film has 2 other credits: Curse of La Llorona and Conjuring the Devil Made Me Do It. Yeah. So I expected this to be the worst film in this franchise. It's not. It's probably the best film in this franchise since Annabelle Creation, which is not bad. Annabelle Creation is pretty good.
Yep, I agree. I think that this is a totally solid film. It's nowhere
near as bad as the first one. And I've heard reviews sort of saying, oh, it's more of the same. No, it's significantly better than the first one.
Overall, I quite enjoyed not only the story, but the narrative structure. I thought that the storytelling was quite strong. In the first half of the movie, we actually jump around quite a bit between disparate stories. And as someone who hadn't even seen the first one, I was able to follow it. I actually thought the pacing, the structure was really good. The production design was really solid. I thought that the look of the film...
Cinematography is really good.
Yes.
I think the film looks great.
Yeah.
I think the acting is very good.
I agree.
Even by the kids.
I was going to say, Sophie, our main kid, I actually think that she, for me, is probably best on ground. And I like our possessed dude.
The only kid I had a bit of a problem with is was his name Jacques, the little kind of the boy.
Oh, the kid who
he freaked me out.
He's playing footy with his friends or something. And,
the one who was in there when the priest got immolated and
got
really cool.
He wasn't great.
Butchered against the door. His eyebrows were up in his hairline the whole time. I know I said the kid in whatever film recently was a surprise all the time. This kid, he didn't. What he looked like was one of the kids from Polar Express.
Yeah.
He looked like a CGI character.
Yeah.
There was something weird about him, so I didn't like him. But the rest of the kids, all the girls were good. Good to see Susan from the Narnia films back and in a big film. That was nice.
Yep.
And I did enjoy... I think it was a good decision not to bring the priest back because it gave Taysa Farmiga real front and centre. Despite the fact that it was ludicrous that she was the one sent on this mission. But I liked Stormy Weathers, whatever her name is.
Storm Reed.
We did say it when we were watching. When we watched Missing, that it was the year of Storm Reed, and it's nice that she's finally popped up in something. It's been a little bit longer than I expected because she'd had a good run there, and so that she was good. I liked all of them, and I think cinematography was great. I think the pacing of the film was really nice. It took its time. It didn't rush things. I know that's why probably one of the things that irked Paul about it, because he fucking hates it when you don't get to death quick enough.
Yes.
But I really liked all of the character pieces. I liked the stuff.
Same.
With it took a while for us to, even though we kind of knew at the end of, or you didn't, but at the end of the first film, we kind of got us. We knew that the thing that was going to kick off the sequel was going to be Maurice, because you end.
See, I didn't know that, so I was actually surprised.
That inverted crucifix kind of scar thing on the back of his neck.
You see that at the end.
That is the final little coda on the first film. You think, they're all got away, and then you zoom in on the back of his neck. And go,
you don't see that in this one until well after you know for sure he's possessed,
which I liked because I'd forgotten. Even though
I had no idea.
Well, I subjected myself to a rewatch of The Nun 2 days ago.
Yeah,
1 day ago. Fuck, I don't know. It was recent, and even so, in this film, I didn't. When he appeared and he was sort of gardening or doing whatever and had that wonderful interplay with Sophie, and you could tell he had the hots for the mum.
Yep.
But he also genuinely seemed to like Sophie. That was all really beautiful, and I enjoyed all of that.
I agree.
And I forgot that he was possessed by a horrible demon nun.
Yeah. Well, I felt bad for him. I felt genuinely bad for him. And it did take me by surprise. And I have to say, like I said before, any horror film that's come out in cinemas this year, I've seen it. Even fucking Haunted Mansion, which is not a horror and is not good. But I was surprised that I did jump at one point in this film, because not a lot scares me.
Was it when
this film does rely on jump scares?
The old woman dives through the little crawl hole and grabs the girl? Because that's the thing that made me jump in both times I saw the trailer.
I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, and it really pissed me off because it was so telegraphed. Like, I was sitting there waiting for it to happen, and still when it happened I jumped. I can't remember exactly what moment it was, but I thought that overall this film was pretty solid.
Yeah, the one thing I will say that I agree with Paul on is it wasn't scary at all, I don't think. Yeah. It didn't diminish. I'm one of these people. I like horror movies because of the content, the style,
I agree.
The atmosphere. The fact that a lot of them are trying to scare me is almost a byproduct. I'm not in there to be scared.
Well,
I don't mind if I am, but I don't miss it if I'm not.
I feel like a horror movie that can do both is actually exceptional, because I think that most that are just trying to scare you miss out on a lot of the things that I think makes a horror movie great.
Me jumping in my seat because something happens quickly is not scaring me. Jump scares, I don't. There's no artist. Well, there is some artistry, a good jump scare.
There is.
Yeah. I should. That was a silly thing to say, but
I know what you mean, though.
Atmospheric scariness.
I agree.
is a lot harder to achieve, and I applaud that a lot more than I do making me jump out of my seat, because you can drop a book behind me and I'll jump out of my seat. That's not an achievement.
Yeah.
If you can make me anticipate that jump, do the jump, and then feel disquieted and unsettled for a period of time afterwards, rather than just, oh, that's over. That's also an artistry in horror films. But if I could watch a horror film that doesn't scare me and enjoy it, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is a horror film. There's nothing scary in that whatsoever, but I love it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the Scream franchise, I think, is a perfect example. How often have you ever actually genuinely been scared in a Scream film? I ever have.
I've never even jumped in my seat in the Scream film.
Fucking great films.
Yeah.
The majority of them are fantastic.
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with a horror film not being scary, which it does put me in the minority. So that didn't bother me about this. I enjoyed the atmosphere. I liked the design of the nun again. I think it's a cool design. I loved the design of the fucking goat devil thing. I thought that was great. I don't understand why it was there. Was it connected to the nun? Is it a different... Nothing was explained in this film.
And that's the flaw. I think we need to be clear, because so far...
terrible.
Yes, I was going to say, so far we've sounded like we're like, this is fantastic. But yes, there are flaws, the writing being awful. The big one. Because I agree.
You have a... the whole
don't get me wrong, I love the premise when she's sitting there staring at the window and the eyes on the goat go red and she freaks the fuck out, and then the other little bitches have locked her in that room. It's a great sequence, but it just doesn't make any sense.
Is it the devil trapped in who comes to life, or is it the fucking Indiana Jones Staff of Ra? It can't be both. It's either put there by the descendants, and how there are descendants of a virginal martyr. Let's not even get to that.
Yes, I know. I agree. The writing in the film is real bad.
Supposedly this virgin had descendants, and they buried their ancestors' eyes, assuming that they were a supernatural weapon.
Yeah, they still never really explained that. And even when they're searching for the eyes, I'm like, how are the eyes going to help? Like, I get that he wants the eyes for some reason, but how does you having the eyes help?
I thought they were going to get... When they hinted at, maybe the demon is a fallen angel, I thought they were going to get to that St. Lucy was the nun.
Yeah.
And she wanted her eyes back.
None of it made sense.
That would have made more sense.
But even at the end when the eyes just start like glowing and like you say, somehow they deter the demon or whatever, it didn't make any sense.
The nun itself has always had glowing eyes.
Oh, okay.
But apparently that's not connected to these eyes. They're just, it's all about eyes. But the descendants of St. Lucy buried the eyes for reasons.
Yep.
Near a stained glass window, and set it up like the Staff of Ra and Indiana Jones, so that when the sun strikes at a certain...
But also then for some reason shining a torch through worked exactly the same way.
But no matter that as the sun moved across, the red dot would move as well.
Yes, exactly. And the same with the torch. You're not just going to be able to find the right angle.
Bit higher, bit lower, bit higher. There it is.
It made no sense at all. And that's the big flaw with this film.
If that devil goat stained glass thing is the thing that the good guys put there, why does it come to life, turn into a monster, and kill people?
Yes. Yeah.
No, the writing in this film is fucking god awful. But I didn't not enjoy it.
Yeah. Yep. I'm a 6. I had fun in the cinema. Like, again, I can't give it any higher than that. For me, it passes.
I'm the same. It's a 6.
It passes purely on, I think the aesthetics are great. The look of the film's fantastic. The acting was good. Like, for me, it passes on all those technical levels. It's just a shame that the script is shit.
Turn your brain off at the door and you'll have a genuinely good time with this, I think.
Yeah.
It looks... I mean, the cinematography... I was 5 minutes in and I was going, holy shit, this movie looks amazing.
Yeah.
The camera work and the decisions made with where to set up the cameras, what shots to take... was all really good. I can't believe this is the same director as...
Yeah.
And not only that, I think the only 2 films he's directed are Curse of La Llorona and Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It, which are fucking
they're both
atrocious movies.
Devil
really
Made Me
bad.
Do It was... I had high hopes for that only because
God.
it was returning to... You know how much I love Patrick Wilson. But yeah, it was a puddle of shit. Well, there you go. I'm surprised that we actually were pretty lockstep on that one.
It's not on the same level as Insidious Red Door. I enjoyed more.
No. Yes, I agree.
And it's not one of the better Conjuring films, but it is one of the better Conjuring films
of late
since Conjuring 2. But oh my God, can we just leave this fucking franchise now?
Jesus
Christ. James Wan, give us some. I wasn't the world's biggest fan of Malignant. It had some fun scenes, but giving a Malignant 2 over another fucking Conjuring movie.
I tell you what I am excited for is Saw X. I know nothing about it. All I've seen is a poster. I haven't seen a trailer or anything, but I like Saw. I'm
need
excited.
to go back. I bowed out of that franchise fairly early.
Oh, same.
The first film I genuinely like. After that, it started. And I haven't seen a lot of them, so this might be inaccurate. But to me, it seemed like it was just heading down into Eli Roth torture porn territory. And I had give me puzzles and things. Don't give me torture porn. I've got no time for torture porn. So I haven't seen the Chris Rock one. I've heard mixed reports of that.
I'm on the side of the fence that liked it. I liked Spiral. Yeah.
So I might go back and try and binge through that. Rest of the 4 or 5 films I haven't seen.
But what are we getting to next week, mate?
Please tell me it's Creator.
That's
so
still not out. That's the
hell.
end. I believe that's the 28th of September. But you know what? We finally get next week, which came out in the States fucking at least a month ago. Which I would usually say let's not bother because we're so late on it. But I'm kind of curious because reviews have been good. We finally get Blue Beetle this week.
They have been, but I'm withholding judgment. I'm keen to see it, but this is it's feeling very like Black Panther, where
it's hard to tell which
because
reviews
it's
on the merit of the film.
Finally showing,
which is great and
nationality,
important.
which is fantastic.
But it does sway the reviews. Yeah, so I'm very curious to see.
Box office and reviews on Black Panther were both far above what it deserved.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's because of that. So hopefully this isn't the case with Blue Beetle as well.
I'm curious. So that's next week. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, all under the handle at wewatchedathing. If you want to help support the show and check out our bonus series where we're talking unskippable albums, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing.
There's a whole other show there waiting for you.
Yeah, 10 eps in. And we'll catch you next week.
Cheerio.